Hey you guys, what's going on? My name is Rye Reed, the writer. Okay, so let's talk about California. And I'm so happy to be back here. I just came back from Japan yesterday, so I'm ready to start talking about news and entertainment and movies and all that good stuff. But I have to talk about this. This is so freaking important. If you live in California, please share this video. This is for you. You need to hear about this. Okay, so check this out. It was trending a couple days ago and today. Caltrans, as you guys have maybe heard of if you live in California, they handle all the freeway repairs and all that stuff regarding the roads. They are testing out a pilot program for charging you, Californians, for driving on the road. Yes, this is California. I want you guys to keep this in mind. This is how progressive California is currently getting. We are out of control. And I have to say that because this is the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. I've heard this before. They're doing the same thing in New York, where they're charging people to drive on their roads, on their bridges certain times of the day, and depending on what time you're driving in New York, that amount does go up. But they're testing it out here, charging you for being on the road. And I'm gonna read this article to you guys. It's by ABC7, and I'm sitting here reading this information, learning about this, and flabbergasted because out here in California, do we not pay enough for not even the bare minimum? We pay so much for so little out here. And what boggles me the most is sure, you want to charge us for the roads. Okay. You've pushed us into getting Teslas and electric cars and hybrids. You've made it such a point that we need to protect our environment, that moving towards EVs is the next evolutionary state of mankind, that we need to go into this direction. Okay, sure. Millions of Californians decide to get Teslas, decide to get EVs, start to move towards Rivians. Really cool cars, by the way. I've driven a few of them. And now that we're doing this, because you are losing money, because you can no longer tax us on gas, because there's so much taxation that comes with getting gas that you guys have benefited from, now you want to punish us for your pushings. It's like you cannot make these things up. You cannot make these things up. You pushed us towards getting EVs. And now that you're losing money, because now that we're protecting the environment, supposedly, right? These batteries, come on now. But supposedly you've pushed this agenda, and now that millions of Californians have moved in that direction, now you're upset, now you want to charge us. Okay, I'm going to read this article. I'm going to be talking in between. I'm going to put it on the screen as well. Because, yeah, it's just out here in California, I'm waiting for the revolution to begin. I'm surprised more Californians aren't upset as it is with our politicians, with those who are in charge of Caltrans, with our senators out here. I'm surprised there is no revolution. I'm surprised people are not in the streets protesting. It's going to get to a point where you will have nothing, and you will have to be okay with that out here in California. And you've been so conditioned to not say anything and to be so cocooned within yourself that you're just going to allow yourself to be repeatedly abused. That's basically what it is. I had to say that. Okay. So the article goes, Caltrans pilot program. And it's a pilot program, but they're testing this to see what they can get away with, what they can do to you that you will not protest against. How many more ways can I gotta keep this channel a little PG, but how many ways can I hit you in the butt before you finally get fed up and you say enough is enough, right? So Caltrans pilot program tests replacing gas tags with charging per mile driven. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that great? Charging you for driving on horrible roads. Horrible roads. It's driving in California is like being on a roller coaster. You never know when you're going to hit a dip, but you do because they're everywhere. And they're not just on the freeways. They're on the streets too. Man, don't get me started with the sidewalks in LA. Man, like, thank gosh I'm in shape. I can, like, y'all ever seen Super Mario where Mario's, like, jumping over stuff and, like, trying to get to, like, the next, like, little brick layer that he can hop on? That's literally me. That's literally me, jumping over stuff. Should I do it? Mario. Yeah, that's enough. Me jumping over stuff to not break my neck or break my ankle. Like, I almost fell in. It was before I went on vacation. I was out in LA. I was getting some food. Bro, was it quicksand or was it a sidewalk? I could not tell the difference. I could not. Okay, let me read. Y'all need to stop. Calm down. Okay, it says Los Angeles. Okay. California roads are maintained through gas tax revenue. You're paying for your roads, you guys. I don't know if you knew that in California. This is why your gas costs, like, on top of you paying for your gas, you're paying 50, 60 cents to get gas. So don't you just love paying taxes on everything? Taxes on water, taxes on your home, insurance, you gotta pay for that. Taxes on buying taxes for your taxes. Taxes when you die. Taxes on the people who get the things, your acquired assets that your family members get, they get taxed for that. Isn't it beautiful? And there's a death tax. It's just great out here. I love paying taxes. I love it. The new pilot program aims to charge drivers for using the roads based on how much they actually drive. Isn't that great? So now, since they're testing it, it's a pilot program, they're going to check to see how far you drive to work. Oh, what? You live in the valley, but you have to drive to LA? We're going to tax you for that because we care about our roads. It's so important we take care of our roads. So we're going to tax you for going to work. This is basically what it is. We're going to tax you for going to school. You have to pick up your kids from daycare? We're going to tax you for that. Doesn't that sound great? Wait, what? Little Susan has baseball practice and you have to drive to go drop her there? We're going to tax you for that. Isn't that great? Wait, you need groceries? We're going to tax you for getting your groceries. Then when you get your groceries, we're going to tax you for getting your groceries. Then when you get gas, we're going to tax you for getting your gas. What? Where is the revolution? We, as Americans, we were such great people no, we weren't. But back in the day, we were so anti-tax that we got pissed when Britain was trying to tax us for our tea. So much so that we hopped on boats, dressed up as Indians, which was wrong. Dressed up as Indians, pushed tea into the water, right? That's what we did because we were so mad about the taxes that we got into a war for taxes. And now we take it. We take it in the butt. We take it. We love it here. We like that. Man. Okay, here we go. So removing California gas tax and replacing it with mileage tax instead. Isn't that better? So much better. I'm glad it's in pilot program. Caltrans spokesperson Lauren Prihoda, crazy name, said maintaining roadways costs around between $8 billion to $9 billion. Wow, I can't even tell. Can't even tell. You couldn't even tell me that. You could not tell me that $8 to $9 billion in California is going to the roads. Maybe in certain areas, like in Orange County, for sure, where they do charge you out there for driving on their freeways. Orange County is a mess. They're known for that. And some parts of LA as well, the beach areas. Those freeways are gorgeous. The freeways out here, especially once you start hitting towards like San Bernardino, Montclair, Moreno Valley, the 10 and the 60 and the 210, the bumpiest freeways I've ever been in my whole entire life. And I've been to different states. Tennessee, fantastic. Out here, garbage. Okay. A year with the vast majority of funds coming from California gas tax, which are collected every time a driver fills up their gas tank, which you feel I noticed it. According to Caltrans, California has more than 1.2 million hybrid and electric vehicles registered in the state, which means, here's the caveat, listen, which means gas tax revenues are falling. They're falling because they pushed an agenda for us to have EV cars. And I remember this push happening back in 2011. I was a little kid, but 2011, 2015, 2016. Such a huge push to have a Tesla. You need to have a Tesla. We're protecting our environment. The ozone layer, we're worried about that. This is such a concern. We're killing the butterflies. We need to protect the turtles. We have to do this. Save the children. If you drive a gas-powered truck, you're the devil. It was such a big push to get us out of using our gas-powered cars. And once we finally bent the knee and we got our electric car, especially where I live. I live in a very, I live in a very privileged neighborhood. It's very well off. There are $1 million homes that do encapsulate where I do live and in my neighborhood as well. I live in a very nice neighborhood. All my neighbors have Teslas. All my neighbors have hybrids. I don't, but I'm just saying, majority of all my neighbors have EVs. So this is like, it's happening out here, especially if you go towards like the mall areas or to LA. There are, not in gas stations, but in some shopping areas, there are Tesla charging stations and other like EV charging stations everywhere. So we're seeing this. We're seeing this push. But because we all bent the knee and we did decide to get these EV cars, it's impacting the Caltrans California's net worth, what they were gaining from charging us in gas. So there's anytime you start seeing new taxation laws or policies being pushed, especially out here in California, here in California, there's so much redlining because we've basically have over, what's the correct way to say it? How should I say this? We've basically overlined ourselves. We've redlined ourselves to the point where we're taxing each other. We're overtaxed. There are too many laws. So it's hindering progress in this state. So the progress that they already created is starting impacting the money which they initially gained before. You guys see where I'm going with all this? Now, because of that, they have to find new ways to tax us, if that makes any sense. It's like basically they stunted us in one area because they wanted that, because they wanted the money, right? Because a lot of people don't know this. The government actually funded, you guys gotta do your own research, but the government actually gave Tesla money during this whole like EV push. So the government pushed that, right? Got a whole bunch of money, billions and billions of dollars, maybe trillions, right? So that happened. But now they're realizing from the decisions that they made maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because they're not receiving as much money as they did before, they want to keep that line of them making money up because now they're losing money from the decisions they made in the past. Now they have to find new ways to tax you. So now they have to be more creative and look for every possible point, crevice, and crack to drain you of your finances, even though they're already doing that, right? You guys follow me? And that's the issue to me with California. Greed. It's greed, firstly, corruption, and it's no one ever thinks long term in this state. They think of how much money can I get today? How much money can I scrape from the people today and let me not think about the next generation, which you're hitting me. I'm young. Hitting the next generation, the generation below me, which is like Gen Alpha, right? No one's thinking about them. It's I hate to say this, it's the baby boomers and it's the Gen X and the way older millennials looking for ways to just scrape and scrape and scrape and take money, punishing the next generations. So now that when this new generation, my generation, as we're coming up into this, basically this hellhole, what does that leave us with? Nothing. Nothing. Besides debt. that's truly it. Debt and mess. So this I can see this working. Them taxing us for mileage. But what's next? Now people have to pay for driving. Can they afford to pay for that? Especially in this economy, especially here in California. How much more can Californians endure before they break? Because that's what we're getting towards. You are bending us here in California. We are being, someone's messaging me, we are being bent. We're bending. But how much more bending can we get? There was also another article that I was reading on TikTok, right? Another TikToker, I can't remember his name, but he was discussing how it basically for the month of April, they were forecasting that the revenue of how much Americans were spending was going to flatline. But it actually did the opposite. It actually decreased, right? But you have to take in terms of what happened that would have caused Americans to spend less money. It was greed. It was because of inflation and shrinkflation and price gouging that basically trained the consumers to spend less money because they had less. They were making less, right? And because of that decision to price gouge for years, they were price gouging us. Back in 2020, that's when it really started, that greed inflation. That's what I'm going to call it. Now that we're hitting fast forward 4 years into the future, people don't have money to spend on food and groceries and outings and Disneyland. But they did that in the beginning, not thinking about it. So those corporations, those companies, much like Caltrans, much like here in California, were so happy with their stocks and everything going up, not thinking long term that the consumer, which is me and you, the civilian, which is me and you, we cannot take this long term. So we're spending less. Even with all of this, with the Caltrans testing this out and seeing if this is a possibility, mark my words, you start charging people for mileage and it will be a huge boom of people working closer to home, because that's what we're going to head towards. Working closer to home. People fighting to work in their home. I know a lot of corporations want you to work back in business, but those days are going to be gone. You're going to have people working closer to home. You're going to have people looking to buy scooters and bikes, which I'm actually considering, and smaller basic vehicles. It will be gone for the days of people having huge, monstrous vehicles. We're going to start moving towards people having small, compact cars that are either hybrid or what's the other one? EcoBoost. That's what I have in my car. I have an EcoBoost car, so it's just cheaper. But we're going to start moving towards that. They start charging us for this. And we're going to have a bigger boom of people walking, taking the bus, or taking their bike. Because I've been doing that. Quite honestly, I bought a bike during the pandemic, which I'm so grateful for because it's keeping me in shape. It's keeping me nice and toned. And I bike places now. I just started recently doing that. Granted, here in California, the way California was designed, California was designed to not be in a village sense. We were designed in cul-de-sacs. So basically you have a cul-de-sac and you would have like a Stater Brothers or something like 3-4 miles of the way. So it forces you to drive. But yeah, people are going to be more willing to get on their bikes to go somewhere they need to go somewhere. People are going to be walking more. People are going to start getting on the buses again like they did back in the 90s, which I wasn't alive for. I missed all that. But there's going to be a huger boom for buses. But yeah, you're going to see people less willing to take a job in a further county or in a further city because they know that with what they're spending just alone with their car, because cars out here in California cost roughly about, let's say you wanted a Camry, you wanted something nice, a Camry brand new, it's gonna cost you about $30,000 to $40,000 because there's taxes on top of that. You're paying insurance, right? You're paying your car insurance. You're paying gas to keep this thing going. There's other like expenditure costs with like just maintaining a vehicle. But yeah, you add on a mileage tax on top of that. That cost alone, is it worth it driving somewhere to a job in LA or 30 minutes away? And this job, this is also an issue in California. This job is not paying you enough to survive. Even if you're making six figures here in California, it's not enough to survive. You need to be making roughly about, I'm going to say it, I know a lot of people don't like to say it, but in California, you need to be making at least $170,000 to $200,000 to afford a home, to afford a family, to, if you need a vacation, to also save for your retirement, to build a 401k, to have a Roth. You need to be making about $200,000 out here. So you're telling me someone who works in LA is making $70,000, because that's what they like to give you out here, $70,000. And now I gotta have a mileage tax. I'm not going to that job. It's just this is giving not long-term thinking. All right, the article. Let me see what else is in here. Everyone has different levels of comfort when managing our data between efficiency and privacy. And that's why it's really important to have options for low tech to high tech. And I also want to note this, because this video is getting kind of long. Caltrans will start a 6-month pilot. They're beginning in June. So it's already happening. If you want to sign up to be a volunteer, you will receive a gift card or something for $400, which is, don't do that. Please don't do that. And here's also the bigger take. I'm going to read this to you guys. To bridge the gap, Caltrans is proposing that it calls the California road charge, which would tax drivers on the number of miles they drive. Mileage could be tracked by plugging an electric device in a vehicle using the vehicle's built-in tracking system, or by submitting photos of the vehicle's odometer, according to Caltrans. And that's the thing I wanted to also bring up to you guys. Keep this in mind. There's always a bigger plan with what is being proposed. There's always a bigger plan. And that was the bigger plan. The only way that they would be able to track your vehicle is by them, Caltrans California, putting a tracker in your gas-powered vehicle, because there's no other way. Sure, you could take a picture, but this is them testing to see how far they can get to you by invalidating your privacy, because that's the only way. This is a privacy matter, and that is the bigger takeaway from this whole entire story. They want to track to see where you're going, what time you're gonna get there, how long you're staying there, who you're seeing. Because if they're tracking, they can see where you're going. This is them invalidating. This is them pushing invasion of policy. So Californians, do the right thing. If this does come, we need to appeal it. We need to fight. Do not let them start charging you for driving on the road, even though you're already being taxed on that. And also, we need to start pushing for better roads. I've been debating on this for a minute of me just driving around San Bernardino and Colton and Haruba and Riverside, some of these areas out here, just to show you how bad our streets are out here. Though we're being taxed the most. We're up there in paying taxes with New York, Connecticut, Maine, New Jersey. Yeah, we're up there. But we have the worst roads. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll absolutely see what happens. This does make me absolutely nervous. I love California. This is my home. I was born and raised in California. I grew up on the weekends, my parents taking me and my brothers to go shopping in the alley, going down to the Garment District with my mother, spending my summer times like I am now, going to carnivals and parades and going to Pasadena, and just I love California. And then my grandmother lived in Orange County, So anytime we would go down to go see her, my dad would sometimes let us drive by the beach and just, chill in the water and go get ice cream. And I love the culture in California. I love the tacos. I love the Mexican food. I can eat Mexican food every day of my life, and I love the diversity we have here in the state. The state is so beautiful, especially once you start traveling higher up in Northern California. You start going to Fresno and Eureka and those areas. This is one of the most beautiful states. And I've traveled, but this is one of the most beautiful states I've ever been to. And I absolutely hate seeing all these policies pushed because it's diminishing the livelihood of the people who live here. It's becoming more than non-affordable to thrive in this state. So it's pushing millions of people out of here. And I hate to say this for myself, as much as I do love this state, but if this is the case and we're charging now for driving, I definitely, especially just with just the taxes alone and the cost of living and the diminishing life that we are having out here in California, and the air quality is bad, and all the warehouses that are being erected out here in the valleys, and just the destruction of what California initially stood for, and also just for the corruption that we do here have as in politicians and our elected leaders and mayors and district managers and all those other entities. It would be better just to leave. Because at this point, you guys, I don't foresee California getting better. California would have to continue to get worse. And it's just sad. It's just sad for someone like myself who has grown up here, who's gone to the Bay, who's been, in San Francisco and been to LA, been to the beaches, and just to see the homelessness and the drugs. And all the carjacking and all the lawlessness that's just being here. Then now we have this. I don't see this getting any better. I hate to say this. It is our leaders. It's the people who, I can't say me, I put them in charge, but it is the people who have been allowed to be in these positions of power for so long, for too long. And out here in California, we do have a very liberal system out here. And our leaders are very liberal. I can't say that they're smart, but they are very liberal. Some are smart, majority aren't. Let's keep it being a bean. But it's just the lack of caring for the people out here in California. That is the biggest talking point. It's just the lack of care for the people. I would feel as if this state would be better if we completely drained the people who were here. We created basically just like laws where we just have you could only be an elected official here for a certain amount of years, and we start holding people who've been lobbied or who have their strings tied in corporations like, say, Facebook and APAC and all those other things, cut, so that if you were to take on this position, your only incentive would be for the people and your passion. But, there's so many things just to think about. But yeah, it's just seen another thing, Caltrans pilot program testing to replace gas tax with charging per mile. It's just another thing out here in California. It truly is. It's sad. This isn't good news. It's just not. But yeah, tell me your thoughts down below. What do you think about this? How do you feel about being charged per mile you drive in California? Would you be willing to sign up for the pilot program, which you'd be dumb to do? You'd be dumb to sign up for it, to be charged during a pilot program to receive a $400 gift card to what? If it was to Target, maybe, but to what? You're dumb. But yeah, how do you feel about this? Are you excited to start paying for taxes for driving? How do you feel about the roads? Because I've mentioned it before. Where you live, tell me in the comment section, how are the roads in California? How are the streets? Are there any potholes where you live? Are there homeless? Is there trash where you live? Is your area where you're living, is it destabilizing? Has it gotten progressively worse? But tell me down below. I'm curious to see. But yeah, I'll see you guys for the next video I do find on TikTok. But thank you so much for showing up and being here. I gotta go.